take you now to Washington, and Kilic Bugra Kanat joins us from DC. He's a research director at SETA Foundation in DC. Welcome to TRT World. Reaction in Washington?
Well, there are, since the beginning of this crisis, actually, there are some confusing statements from the different branches of the government in Washington, D.C. And as you may recall, last week there was a serious crisis between Turkey and United States after CENTCOM declaration of the establishment of the border security forces, mostly formed by, mostly includes the YPG members. So immediately after this operation, we see two different statements, actually. First, yesterday we saw the statements from the Pentagon and State Department expressing kind of verbal support, but expressing concern at the same time. Today, the statements differ. State Department made a statement in quote, very concerned about the operation, and at the same time understanding Turkey's sensitivities about its national security. On the other hand, the Secretary of Defense, James Mattis, basically told that Turkey informed about the operation, and Turkey is the only NATO ally that has insurgency within its borders and supported the operation. So, as you know, in Washington, D.C., it has been a year that in each and every foreign policy crisis, we see multiple different statements from the different branches, different institutions, and different actors. And this time also, we started to see that. And especially the State Department statement, the last sentence of the State Department statements, which called the nations actually to find a way to peaceful stability of the Syrian people. The meaning of it and who it was addressed to created a lot of controversy, at least on the social media.
And given the domestic difficulties in the US at the moment, I'm thinking of the shutdown in particular, which we'll talk about later in this program, is what's going on in this region even registering in the US?
Well, at least for the White House, it seems that National Security Council is probably watching closely what's going on. But at the presidential level, we see that especially with the federal shutdown and the difficulty between and the conflict, dispute between the Congress and President basically overshadowed these developments in Syria. And it has been a while that White House is having these problems of lack of concentration to the foreign affairs due to the multiple different domestic problems. It is either Mueller probe or different investigations or the difficulty with the Congress. So although some people consider the tax reform as the beginning of a new era for the Trump administration so that it can at least allocate its resources to domestic policy and foreign politics at the same time. But this federal shutdown demonstrated that it was just a short break in the dispute between different branches of the government in Washington, D.C.
Kilic Bugra Kanat in Washington, thank you.